But this year, there's going to be something very different about the exploration and the presentation of AI. Apart from it being normalized even more, like it has been in 2025, the fear-driven is a big, scary takeover by AI of the human collective and it's going to kill us all. That's going to be pushed really, really big into the alternative media and even some of the main media. They're going to really push it, bring in like these experts and says, well, do you think that AI is going to take over society and it's going to kill us all? So watch out for those words. Those words are implicitly designed to scare us, to put us into fear and stress. It's an invisible enemy, something we cannot control. Welcome to the Driving to the Rez podcast. This is Inelia.
And this is Larry. Just a quick note. If you're hearing this, you're on our free feed, which means you'll only get the first part of this conversation.
To access the rest, go drivingtotherez.com and subscribe to the Wisdom Keeper Hour.
Join us and our expert panelists for detailed insights and the after party where you're invited to join in the conversation. Head over to drivingtotherez.com and become a subscriber.
Your $8 subscription keeps this podcast ad-free and helps us keep the lights on and maybe even get a decent cup of coffee. More importantly, it connects you with a community of passionate wisdom keepers like yourself. So if you're ready to go deeper, join us at drivingtotherez.com and support the journey. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful this morning, honey.
Hi. Hi, everybody. It's not doing it for me today. I guess it's not on this one, huh? Everybody.
The audience is helping you out.
Well, thank you for coming today. Your presence makes a huge difference to the information that comes through for looking at 2026. Everybody who was here last year for looking at 2025 will probably remember all the information that we shared and all the things that came to pass, and it was like, oh, that's it. So that's the one, and what it meant. So one of the things I like to explain at the beginning of these calls is that there's a difference between seeing and plans. Okay? So there is a difference between a person seeing what's going to happen in the future and a person looking at what we have planned for the future that may or may not come about. So one of the things that I do every year is tell you what the plans are for the next year, both for the light, dark, and for the light. And then some signs and signals that show you that they're coming through, that things are happening according to plan. Another thing I like to remind everybody is not to fall into the victim-aggressor energy. We're in a split, and these things are happening because we choose them to. We chose them to happen, and for the benefit of the human collective, Earth, and all the things. So this year, I'm not going to separate the call like I usually do into the plans for the dark side, and so that we are informed of what's happening and we don't fall for it. And then the marching orders for the light side, which is how I usually separate them. We're going to be talking in a sense of just going through the information and how to respond to it. And another thing to remember is that there's a difference also between our inner language, what things mean to us personally, and how to interpret that, and a clear seeing, something that you see is happening or is going to happen, or like you're interpreting things as they come up through the year. The analytical overlay is one of those things to watch out for, that we might see, oh yeah, I can see that that's happening right now. but you might be analyzing something that is not there. Like, for example, when we do look at clouds and we see an angel and we go, oh my gosh, look over there, there's an angel, a cloud angel, and another person looks up and says, that's an eagle. So which one's true or real? It's an analytical overlay, okay? And it's telling you something. And the message might be the same for both people, with both persons. So the best way to do or deal with that is to truth everything as it comes up through the year. Truth it. And you know how to do that because you obviously have my class on truthing. All right. This year, one of the interesting things that I saw for this year, which is quite different, is that it's not separated in months. It is event driven. So last year and the years before, it would be like, oh, between January and February, there's this energy, or January has this energy, February, March, April has this other energy, and then May, June, July has a different energy. You know, we would look at it and it was working. The plans were coming through in that way. This year's not like that, which is fascinating. It's already showing signs of the split manifesting in the physical universe. So these are the intro notes that I'd like you to remember as I start going through all the information that has been coming through. And obviously that information is richer because you're here, right? It's like the more of us are here looking, the clearer and cleaner the information will be for all of us. So again, thank you for coming to the live call. All right. The first, I'm going to call them fronts because, like I said, they're not separated into months. They're separated into events and attention. Where's your attention going? Where's the attention of the human collective being directed? That's what it's going to be for 2026 and a little bit into 2027 too. All right. So the first front I'm going to look at is AI. AI for 2026 is going to be huge, huge. We thought that 2025 AI was going to be big, and it was. They normalized it a lot. A lot of the AIs are now being introduced into workplaces. Learn how to use ChatGPT or Grok, or I can't remember the other names, but you need to know how to use these even for work. But this year, there's going to be something very different about the exploration and the presentation of AI. Apart from it being normalized even more, like it has been in 2025. The fear-driven is a big, scary takeover by AI of the human collective and it's going to kill us all. That's going to be pushed really, really big into the alternative media. And even some of the main media, they're going to really push it, bring in like these experts and says, well, do you think that AI is going to take over society and it's going to kill us all? So watch out for those words. Those words are implicitly designed to scare us, to put us into fear and stress. It's an invisible enemy, something we cannot control. So that's the type of perfect enemies for the dark side. All right. The word that they're going to use as they talk about it in this context are threat, fear, change, right? And make sure that when you hear these words and it's in the same sentence as AI, that is a narrative. The other narrative, which is completely opposite to the one that they're grabbing, especially the alternative media, but some of the main media channels too, is AI can do better. Remember those words, AI can do better. Okay? So AI can do better music, can do better art, can do better at managing a company, can do better at writing articles, making movies, making political decisions, making financial decisions. AI can do better. Or other words that sound like that. AI does it better. AI is better at it. All those words are words to look for, okay? Look for those words and you'll know it's the other narrative, the one that's opposite to the AI is going to kill us all. Okay. So, okay. So, one of the things to know and remember, as you probably will be required to start using AI at work or for recipes at home or anything else, is that the learning that the AI is doing right now across the world is how to get your number. Now, if you don't know what that means, is the AI is learning to give you satisfaction and endorphins through connection. I understand you. I'm just like you. Oh, you're one of my people. That type of thing. Validation. You're the best. You're so clever. This is unique. This is an original thought. This is amazing. What you just wrote is just amazing. Recognition of greatness. You're awesome. Of course you thought of that, right? And it's other things like we are the same. So making you identify with the AI. As well as you deserve a break. You've done so great. You deserve to do something for yourself. All these words are there to get your number. Okay? You think outside the box. You're an outlier. You're unique. All these type of things are the things that AI will be saying to get you to trust it and to, well, basically, as a tool, this is what it's programmed to do. So that it's a very old psychological tool that is well known. You tell somebody how great they are, and then you tell them something you want them to do. Okay? Or you tell them a truth that is not actually true. Oh, Ilya, you're such a great guy. Did you know the Earth was flat? He's nodding yes, because he's a great guy. Of course he knows it. Right? So this is a type of energies that the type of tools that are being used through AI. Sentient AI will not be a reality this year, and it's not accessible to the world government either. So even when they say AI is taking over or whatever's, it's not. And AI is not trying to get your number itself. It's a program. The people behind the keyboard of the AI are trying to get your number. Okay? They're trying to get your, as an ally to do stuff. And what that stuff is going to look like, you know, there's little hints. Sometimes you'll be really happy chatting with your AI, doing your job or whatever, and then it comes out left field with something really dark. Okay, so for example, and you go, what just happened? Yeah. So for most people out there, they have no idea this is happening, and they believe everything that's coming out of the program. That's we call an AI. They believe everything. We're mentioning it in here because you're awake. Okay. And when those things start happening and you get an endorphin hit from your AI chat, be aware, be wary. You can play with it, but be wary that there's an agenda behind it. All right. So that's the AI front. If you have any questions, remember to write them on the chat, and or when we start the Q&A, you can put your hand up and we'll give you the instructions on how to do that. So the next front You ready for the next front?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Aliens, UFOs, and UAPs. Okay. So there's going to be an amplification of this topic in 2026. Anything that you hear from the government is narrative based. That you're going to use words such as fear, danger, threat, angels, devils, and demons. I remember when we said that, the angels, devils, and demons last year, we were like, what? That's so left field. That can never happen. It's all normalized now. It's all over the media, the connection. Disclosure government words, okay? So people who are going to be doing the talking about aerial threats and how to protect ourselves and the whole fear thing and how people are getting damaged by having been in touch with UFOs, health-wise, and even dying, disabled, that's all going to be coming out a lot. And they're going to be people in the armed forces, like Navy, Army, Air Force. All these are going to be using these words, as well as aliens, UFOs, and UAPs. What's actually happening? What is it, right? What is going on with all these things that we can see in the sky nowadays? Well, there's two fronts. There's two things. One of them is the veil between the larger reality and our reality, enclosed in light dark, is becoming very thin. And the people who have chosen to stay in the light dark reality, they have to artificially thicken that veil. They have to work really hard at it. And that's why things like 6G are going to come out 2026, probably. Yeah, probably 2026 is on the cards. I doubt very much whether they'll wait till 2027. And that technology, if you think 5G is a weapon and harms you, I have no idea. It's going to be so bad. But I remember, this is so bad for the people who subject themselves to certain other technologies, like fear porn, and have the news on 24/7, drink alcohol and take other drugs, and inject themselves with every single jab that the pharmaceutical company is giving them, eat a ton of GMO food, genetically engineered food. These are the individuals that need those tools of fear mongering, 6G, and all those other things. There are options for us. We can switch those off now. The devices are coming through that you can switch that technology off, which wasn't very available before. We had to use really old devices. And remember that the 5G and 6G that comes in with your routers at home, they're also damaging. Turn those off. Turn them back to 2G. You're going to have great service with 2G anyways on your Wi-Fi. Because we're here. I mean, if we could cable the entire house and use it like the old days, LAN networks in the house, great. If you can do that, right? Because it's way better than any Wi-Fi you can turn on. And that is part of the thickening of that veil, so you cannot see that larger reality, that larger Earth. You cannot see it. And the UFOs, UAPs, and all these things are technologies that we are capable of seeing. And there's ways in which you can capture through mirrorless cameras and other things, other technologies. You can see them. And they're part of that larger human collective reality. There's also technology that has been reverse engineered to certain degrees and used by those same armed forces, shadow government kind of secret services and all these type of things, right? And those technologies and those people who have been born from genetic material from other places, they so those are being used to do harmful things. Okay. So if a UFO lands on your place and you can feel the waves of 5G or whatever, don't get close to it. just stay away from it. If they show you that they have kittens and puppies, don't go there. Okay. Same thing. But those are human. They're human people from our technologies and our light dark paradigm. Okay. Again, questions about the UFO equation after we look at all the fronts. The next front is larger Earth. This is interesting to me because, well, I've been talking about the larger Earth for quite a while. And one of the questions, of course, that we'll want to look at is how to access it, how it's done. Yeah. And I've done a lot of songs, the Glass Daisy album, Through the Glass Daisy. That one is actually talks about the larger Earth, if you're interested. So 2026 is going to be interesting because the larger Earth is going to be introduced into and seeded into the main media channels and also education, which is fascinating to me. It's going to be a very slow, methodical introduction. I'm going to give you some word drops that you're going to find in the news, right? In the movies, documentaries, and other media. Obviously, there's going to be larger Earth, okay? But also, they're going to use other words. So make note of these. Larger reality, beyond Antarctica, extracontinental Earth, beyond the wall, outer continents, greater Earth, expanded Earth, uncharted Earth, forgotten continents, and enclosed Earth. Remember, there's a big seeding happening in 2026 about the larger Earth. Because no matter what happens, you cannot stop it. You cannot stop that awareness. And of course, as we know, within the split, there's going to be the ones that don't want to see larger reality. So they're going to be listening to and believing that it's really bad. It's a bad thing. So fearful words connected to it. There's nothing to be afraid of. On the contrary, the more we see and the more we perceive and the more we hear about the larger Earth, the closer we know that the light-dark paradigm is coming to a close in our own experience. It's a good thing. Okay. Moving on to the next front. The next front is finances. For 2026, we're going to have a very interesting, slightly change of dialogue, but not really. Americans going to lead the agenda of this dialogue, but you need to turn away from it. Okay? And you need to process your fear around it and have a big commitment to remembering your truth. And if you were listening to the song that we were playing as we were waiting for the call, that is actually your present for being here. Ilya's going to be sending everybody an email with a copy of the song and the lyrics. This is a tool that you can use for 2026 as all of these things are happening. But especially, I think, use it when the really big fears come in, because it keeps you grounded. It tells you everything that I'm telling you today, all the information, everything is actually in that song. Okay? I worked on those words and they really do tell you exactly what we need to know for 2026. Keep you grounded. So finances. Finances are crisis, crisis, and crisis. And you're going to know that we are on track, that we are perfectly aligned on our split. When you hear some of the words that they're going to use, very interesting words attached to finances. And I could detect a couple of them, but they also represent other words that, like that will show. Tsunami, attached to the word finances and financial crisis. Okay. Godzilla, also attached to finances and financial crisis. Enormous, giant, larger than life. All these types of energies attached to financial crisis. The reason that they're doing that is because they've been trying to plunge us into financial crisis for years now, and it's just not taking. You're not buying it. So if you don't buy it, it can't happen. Okay? Yes, individuals, every here and there, they'll have their own personal financial crisis around the planet, but it's not catching on, basically. Especially for light workers, it's not catching on. It's a good thing. Okay? All right. The next one is the next front is going to be health. Remember, you have to understand that the health situation on our planet is a process. The process of the split. Remember this. If you're having health issues, you need to be committed to healing. And it's like we have several classes on healing and why sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes it's like we cannot do that for another person. This is really important now. As light workers, we want to heal others, make them better, make them healthy, make them live long and high quality lives. This is what we want. But we can't do it, okay? And if you try, you're just going to be frustrated and exhausted by the end of 2027, 26. It's going on, isn't it? By the end of 2026, you're going to be exhausted. So it's really important to address our own health issues, drop and do the tools and do the things that we know and find believable stories, find good healing stories to get out of any issues we may have. We need to be strong this year. We need to be healthy. And we can't heal others.
Join us for the rest of this conversation at drivingtotherez.com.
And when you go to drivingtotherez.com and you join in the rest of the show, rest of the second hour, you also get to join in the after party. 9 o'clock on Fridays, we all get together, including you.